The US Army's own data says it bluntly. Russia has lost thousands of tanks in Ukraine. Images of burning T-72s and T-90s, Western Leopards, and even a handful of Abrams getting hit by cheap FPV drones seem to scream one message: tanks are done. But on the procurement side, the exact opposite is happening. Everyone is still buying, upgrading, and fighting over tanks as if they're the centerpiece of land warfare. So, what's really going on? The tank isn't dying. It's mutating under pressure. For most of the late 20th century, tanks were built around a simple assumption. The main threats are horizontal. Other tanks, ATGMs, aircraft with rockets and bombs, you built a thick, angled shell up front and trusted it to take the beating. The drone age shatters that comfort zone completely. Now, the most dangerous threats arrive from above, from the rear, and from angles armor designers barely considered 30 years ago. A $500 FPV can dive straight into the engine deck or turret roof. A loitering munition can lazily orbit at altitude until a tank moves, then drop it almost vertically.
About to go boom, about to go boom.
Quadcopters feed artillery batteries precise GPS coordinates with live video. That's not obsolescence, that's evolutionary pressure. Look at how the M1 Abrams is responding. The early Abrams was all about power, mobility, and a brutally effective 120mm gun. In its largest incarnations and the planned M1E3, the real headlines are no longer just about thicker plates. Engineers are wiring in more sensors, better thermal images, and a digital nervous system that lets the tank plug into a wider kill web. It's becoming a node, not a lone hero. The Abrams of the drone age doesn't want to charge over a ridge and find out. It wants to see first from someone else's drone, from a shared network, from its own 360-degree cameras. It expects to operate under a canopy of friendly short-range air defense and electronic warfare. And on top of the steel, it's adding a new kind of armor. Active protection systems that try to swat missiles and rockets out of the air before they ever touch the hull. Russia's T-90M is going through its own harsh evolution in real time. The base T-72 T-90 family took a beating early in the Ukraine war. Thin roofs, exposed ammo, poor situational awareness. The T-90M Proryev is the answer forged under fire. A reworked turret, upgraded armor, modern optics, and an almost desperate obsession with top attack protection. Those improvised cages and cope cages might look crude, but they're a visceral sign that crews now fear the vertical more than the frontal arc. What's interesting is how similar the survival instincts are on both sides. Western crews drape tanks in thermal camouflage nets and add extra cameras. Russian crews bolt on slat armor, roof screens, and ad hoc anti-FPV grills. Everyone parks under cover, moves in shorter bursts, and treats any open field as a potential kill zone. Tanks are still rolling, but they're behaving less like medieval knights and more like very nervous heavyweight boxers. Then there's the rise of active protection. Systems like Trophy on Israeli Merkavas and trialed on Western tanks, or Russian soft kill and hard kill packages, represent a fundamental change. The tank is no longer just a passive steel sponge. It's trying to shoot back at the incoming threat before it lands. In the drone era, this mindset is being pushed further. Designers are experimenting with APS modes that can at least detect and queue against small UAVs, while future concepts bolt on dedicated counter-drone jammers and even small directional weapons. Just as important as hardware is the shift in how tanks fight. Now, a smart armored advance looks very different. First, your own drones go out. Quadcopters, fixed-wing scouts, loitering munitions. They map ambushes, spot ATGM teams, and locate enemy armor without risking a single crewman. Only when that picture is built do tanks move, often in shorter bounds, hugging terrain and staying under concealment whenever possible. The Abrams, the T-90, the Leopard, the K2, none of them are supposed to wing it anymore. They're meant to show up at the edge of a fight, already knowing roughly who's there, where they are, and what arcs are dangerous. The tank gun is still doing the killing, but drones are increasingly doing the seeing. You can see this baked into newer designs like the Leopard 2A8 or South Korea's K2. They aren't just more armor, better gun. They're rolling around with advanced battle management systems, hunter-killer sights, and the expectation that they'll be talking to UAVs, artillery, and command posts in real time. The turret is no longer just a weapons mount. It's a sensor and data hub wrapped in armor. And yet, for all this science fiction layering, the core reason tanks survive as a category is wonderfully primitive. When you absolutely need to shove a gun into a contested street, hold a crossroads under fire, or break through a fortified line, a big armored vehicle with a stabilized cannon is still one of the best tools humans have built. That's why commanders from Washington to Moscow still care so much about how many Abrams and T-90s they have left. So, are tanks evolving in the drone age? Absolutely. They're growing eyes in every direction, adding force fields in the form of active protection, and learning to fight as part of a swarm of sensors and shooters. The Abrams, the T-90, the new Leopards, and K2s. They're not fossils refusing to die. They're armored animals forced to adapt fast in a new ecosystem where cheap flying predators are everywhere.